On this episode, we'll discuss strategies to keep tech volunteers for the long haul. Well, hey there, and welcome to another episode of the Church Leadership Lab podcast, the show that is dedicated to inspiring leaders and empowering healthy churches. I'm Kendall Connor, and I'm joined by my co-host, Jess Moore. How are you today, Jess?
Hi, Kendall. I'm doing good.
So excited to have you on here today. We've got a great episode planned as we're getting close to Christmas, as a matter of fact, right?
Yes, we are. I'm excited and stressed, but here we are. We're getting it done.
It's a busy season, but I feel like we actually have a great conversation planned for this busy season.
Absolutely. Very busy. Lots of shows, more performance, right, than your average service.
There's so much going on in personal calendars and on the church calendar this time of year. So it's good that we get to have a conversation around a subject that I know that you love, but one that I love, and that is our volunteers, caring for our teams, especially when it comes to areas like tech or even worship, that kind of production world. And we have an incredible guest to lead us through this conversation today. We have joining us Dennis Choy, who is, he just brings so much. He brings a wealth of knowledge on this subject. And so I want to tell all of our listeners today, if you've never connected with Dennis before, let me tell you a little bit about him. Dennis Choy is an executive coach. He's a speaker, and he's the general manager of design and project management at HouseRight. He has a strong passion for helping churches to build healthy teams for the kingdom. Over a total of 30 years of experience in ministry. He's been the executive of creative arts pastor for Skyline Church. He's been the global production pastor at Saddleback and the executive pastor of North Coast Church. You can tell that he's got so much ministry experience. He's developed multiple teams, departments, staffs, and he's just committed to furthering the reach of churches for the gospel. It's going to be an incredible guest. Today we get to talk about, as I mentioned, those volunteers, keeping those volunteers for the long haul, how to keep our tech volunteers, these strategies that can help them to stick around for a long period of time. We want to keep these folks. We don't want to burn them out, right?
Love it. Yeah, this is going to be great. And again, super relevant for this time of year, drawing people in during a very busy season, but then bringing some longevity to that. I think this is going to be great.
100%. Before we jump in, I want to encourage all our listeners, come on, hit that follow button. We want to make sure that you're subscribed wherever you're enjoying our show. We want to make sure you stay in the loop as we continue to release these conversations and provide these resources. That's the best way to make sure that you don't miss a thing. So, hey, without further ado, let's welcome Dennis Choy. Hey there, Dennis. How are you today?
Great. Thanks, you guys, for having me. Appreciate the time and your ministry and what you do and helping leaders all around the country with this podcast. So thank you.
We're thrilled to have you. Yeah, we're thrilled to have you. And you're joining us today. I think you mentioned from San Diego. Is that right?
I am in San Diego, yes, where the weather stays the same most of the time.
Even as we get closer to Christmas, so you got that amazing weather. I'm not jealous of that at all.
Yeah.
I mean, exactly. Well, I totally am jealous of that.
We do have to pay for it here. It doesn't come cheap, that's for sure.
Oh, so. Yes. Okay. Literally pay for it.
Yeah, literally. But I don't know anything different. I've lived here my whole life in Southern California. So
very, very cool. Well, we read the public bio, but I'm actually kind of curious. Something we love to ask all of our guests that come on the show. What's something that maybe doesn't make that public bio, but all your family and friends would know about you?
Oh, that they do know about me, or that they don't?
Yeah, no, that they do.
That's scary. Yeah. Oh, I mean, I guess in general, like, I think if you asked anybody from my high school, junior high days, they would be shocked that I'm in ministry and do public speaking and teach to large groups and all this stuff, because that was not me at all.
Wow.
In high school. I took a debating class, and I almost failed it because I was so afraid to talk and share in front of people. It's just interesting what God can do. You know, when I was 18, I became an intern at a church, junior high intern, and was not forced, but hey, teach,
gentle
share.
nudge.
And it was like, gentle nudge. And it was like, wow. So I think people wouldn't know that about me, but,
Yeah.
for me, so
That's awesome.
yeah.
Very cool. It's amazing to see kind of the journeys, that we go on that, where God can take us. Yeah, it's really something. I would
Mhm.
probably say the same thing. Would high school me know all that I do today? I don't know.
Right. Right, totally. Or would
Uh,
wanna know all about
yeah,
you,
there you go.
right?
High school Jess
Yeah.
had bigger expectations than Jess now has.
There you go,
High school
yes.
Jess wanted to be a singer, a
Oh,
professional
yeah.
singer.
I
Oh,
I didn't
wonderful.
know, Jess. I'm learning stuff about you through this
I know.
podcast. I did not
Yeah,
know that. No, what?
wow.
Well, you're not
Wow.
asking me every week what's something your friends and family would know,
Yeah.
Jess. Maybe we should do an episode like that,
Yeah,
just you
I
and I,
there
think
you go.
Kendall.
yeah, we apparently need that.
Yeah,
Well, like if the
and
the karaoke comes around, we'll know where to turn for sure.
yeah. Well, and
Listen,
it's never too late, Jessica. I
That's
mean,
right.
the Voice, there's all kinds of shows now. There's not too late.
it's
You can
so
always,
true. That'd
you
be
know,
wild.
pursue that
But
dream.
Well,
yeah,
as we go into the new year, we know where all of Jess's resolutions are going to be, right?
There
yes,
you go.
go on The Voice and meet Snoop Dogg.
There you go. Oh, that's awesome. Dennis, I know that you've spent decades leading different teams, whether it be in creativity or production, in these churches. What sparked that in you? Where does that
Mm,
passion for building,
mm.
a healthy volunteer culture come from?
Yeah, it's good. I think, especially in those areas. So volunteering in general at church, that's one thing. But when you get into more skilled, specialized areas,
Mm,
creative production, worship, where there's gifting as skill, as well as just the heart to serve, right? Yeah,
yes.
that's to me where it gets more challenging, but also exciting,
Mm,
and also where you see churches can do really well or not do well. And so I guess it was that passion early on when I jumped in and started volunteering, and I'm trying to be in more specialized areas and getting training in production world. And what does that mean? And
Yes.
who's teaching me? And do they know what they're doing? And all those things, right? That's where I guess that as I started leading those types of teams or creating them, I was like, man, we got to do this right
mm,
because
Wow.
this is important.
yeah.
Because I always use the Jesus, the first miracle, Jesus turning water into wine. And the cool part of the story of Ramirez is he takes water, he turns it into wine. But what they sometimes forget is what the master of the ceremony, who's holy place, talks about how we had saved the best wine for last.
Hmm.
Mm,
And for me, that example from Jesus was pursuing excellence. Like he could have
Yeah.
made any kind
wow.
of wine at the end of the nobody
Yeah.
would have known. They were all drunk anyway, right? But he made the very best. He made the very best, and it seemed like a
Yeah.
meaningless miracle. Like, okay, you
Yeah.
got more wine for people. But what I take back every time is he made the very best,
That's a
even at
great
the
Mm,
point.
end. Right. And so it's that pursuing excellence. And so we have to do everything, especially in this world when we're serving church, the best we can. And that's what kind of
yeah.
drove really trying to develop teams versus just letting it happen.
I love
And
That
it.
so,
Yeah, I love that. Bringing our best, having that sense of excellence. It really is a difference maker. And I feel like, people notice that. And a mentor of mine always said that excellence, excellence honors God and inspires
mm,
people. And
Mm,
I
mm,
think that that's something that,
yep,
we can bring no matter what area of
totally.
the church we're serving
Yeah.
in. It is interesting that you said that, yeah, there's two different sides of volunteering, especially when it comes to areas maybe like music or production. There is some of those more skilled areas. And so, could you elaborate on that a little bit? So it's more than having a willing heart sometimes. Sometimes there
Yeah.
is like the skill side of it, right?
Yeah, right, right. Yeah, again, if you keep that process in mind of pursuing excellence, because it can't be excellent. That's impossible, right? Nothing's excellent, but we can pursue excellence. So if we're doing that in
Mhm.
worship and production, your creativity, you want the best. You want to pull out the best, right? And so as you guys know, let's say on a worship team, everyone wants to sing, or maybe not. A lot of people think they can, and it's different when you're in front of a bunch of
Yes.
people and you're leading them in worship. You're not just
Yes.
singing to
right,
them,
right.
right? That's a
That's key.
different, right?
Yeah.
It's a key. It's like it's a mindset. So how do you develop that? Because you could have a person with a great voice and skill, but they don't understand that leading
Mm.
process,
Hmm.
right? And so that's the difference of again servant's heart. Hey, go take out the trash. Great. I'm going to go take it out. I'm going to do the
Yes.
best I can taking the trash out. Great. There's not a lot of other things you need to explain in that. maybe just a process of like, put the trash here and put, right? A
Yes.
little different though when you're leading people, when you're in
Right.
front, or when you're on the faders too. It takes skill when to push the right moments and create these things so
Yes.
that it's the best experience and not a distracting experience.
Yeah.
That's where it gets, I think, there's more intentionality. I feel like that needs to be pushed into these areas of, and especially with volunteers who come and go.
Right.
This
Yes.
is not what they do as a profession, right?
Right.
So,
Mhm.
but we want them to. The churches demand it almost like, why aren't we doing this better? It's like, well, these are
Mm.
weekend warriors. Like we're just teaching them right now how to do
Yeah.
this
I
kind of
love
thing.
Yeah.
that.
So,
Mm.
You brought up a lot of great points there. It's just so good. I'm curious, like in your view, in your experience, why would you say that it's so essential for churches to get teams right, to get volunteer culture right? And what would you say is at stake if we were to get this wrong?
yeah, I think that's borders on some stewardshipness as well. Like,
Mm,
I think what happens is, with churches, we go into an automatic default when it comes to volunteers. Like they come, they want to serve. So we say, okay, go do this and go do that. And we give them a bunch of tasks and they do those. But it's more than that. Like our responsibility as the church, these people want to do the best they can for
mm,
Jesus. Sometimes the church gets in the way and doesn't let them do that, right? Because
Mm.
we
mm.
have we either we're too complicated in our systems and what we want them to do, or we give them
Wow.
zero direction at all, right? And
Sure.
so
Wow.
they're lost and they're like, I just want to serve. How do I get involved and tell me what
Right.
to do and where to go, right? Or
Yeah.
tell me, hey, it's up to you. Empower them and say, do it the way you feel like, and so there's lots of ways to do it. I just think that churches need to be intentional because we're talking about a person serving Jesus. And they
Mm,
really just they want to put their first fruits forward and do the best they can. And sometimes churches are the ones that actually make that harder or less, give them less ability to do that, right? Without defining roles, doing
yeah.
all these things that like help them be
Yeah.
better at that. So that's, I think, for me, that's where that comes from. Yeah.
Yeah, and, having those systems in place, making it easy. Like I feel like that. I feel like that's probably something that I see more often than not. Is there's not the right process in place, and it's just difficult. People are searching around. They're trying to figure out. Okay, I have this desire to serve and to be a part of this, but I don't
Sure.
know what to do. Is that something that you're seeing?
Yeah, I think there's again, here's what typically happens, especially in some of these higher skilled areas of availability, right? Sometimes we put people in charge because they're very skilled, but they've
Mm,
never really developed or brought teams. So they're kind of lost and they're like, I don't know, just come on board. And so there's it's an unintentional, right? Uh, uh not being proactive in
yeah.
guiding and directing teaching. They're just like, "Come alongside and do it." And guys, I mean, I've had to do that a million times. Sometimes you're in situations, you open a new campus and you need more people, you just throw them in there and just do this. But at some point, you need to develop them to again, for the responsibility of their servant's heart and what they're giving back
Yes.
Right.
to Jesus, right? So we have to
Mm.
guide them. But I think, again, we just get busy and
Yes.
we don't know necessarily how. So, like all the stuff I share about, I do that, how to keep a volunteer. I do all these volunteer teaching things, but guys, I didn't wake up knowing that.
Right.
That was all dumb taxes paid over years and years of doing the
Mm,
wrong things and going, oh my goodness, we need to give them more direct. We need to do this. We need right, and so that's just a culmination. That's what I like to share is the things I did wrong, so you don't do them. You're
Yeah.
gonna do something else, maybe that, that you're gonna learn from, but, because, again, there's no direct manual, and
Mhm.
every
yes.
situation is different,
Yes.
but it doesn't mean we shouldn't try,
Yes.
right?
So true.
I was going to say, too, I would imagine that as churches grow, those processes need to be
Mm,
scalable in some
mhm.
capacity,
Hmm.
right? And so the more intentional you are as you're starting, you can just bearing in mind with faith, God is going to grow this. God is going to continue to provide these people. And so
Yes.
thinking through processes kind of um, in faith, knowing that God's going to
Yeah,
allow it to be scaled. You
yeah,
mentioned stewardship. And so, that's kind of the direction my brain went. As we
Yes.
are good stewards, usually God will reward that. It's a very specific calling for our finances, our time, our talents. And so I think that's a good thing to remember. Not only do I need to have a place for these people, but what if we have more people? How can we
Yes.
continue to provide a space for them?
Totally. Yeah, it's funny you said that because I think so God will always bring people to volunteer. I believe that wholeheartedly, right? He'll always
Mm,
supply the heart. But as you know, some volunteer teams are better than others, and some have a lot of turnover. People come and go,
Right.
right?
yeah.
And God
Sure.
keeps bringing more. But
Mhm.
and then they right and that to me is where that stewardshipness that we talked about, like the
Mhm.
guiding of the team, the
Yeah.
better you can do that, you can hold on to those people who are.
Right.
But Jesus is going to keep. They're going to keep, funneling more people in. I think
Yeah.
sometimes these kind of scratches is like, "Yeah, I gave you 100. What you need 100 more? What happened to the
Yeah.
ones I gave you?" You're like, "Oh, oops, yeah, sorry."
Mm.
Right. So that's where, for me, a personal stewardship of like, caring for this flock
Yeah, that's
that's
so
that's
good.
specific,
Love
right?
that.
And that's, and again, there's different flocks, and this one's more complicated maybe than a different flock because of the skills and nature that have to be developed and the hard
Yeah.
conversations you have to have. Like, hey, you're not really actually good at that. So maybe you can do this instead. And, those are things you got to do in skilled areas, right?
Yeah,
Especially, as you said, as you grow as a church, those expectations get bigger and bigger from people who are attending, right? The size
right.
demands more expectations. So how do you manage
Mm,
that? How do you continue that scalability? And that means people who've been serving for a long time may not be serving in the right role anymore.
it's good.
So you have to
Wow.
navigate that, right? Navigate
Mhm.
some of those
Yeah.
things. But it's an active navigation. And this is where I've worked with churches, coach them, and it's like they haven't changed anything. And you're like,
Mm.
you have to. You
Yeah,
Yeah.
have to, unfortunately. But if they're truly serving to serve, right, the heart of their nature is to serve, they're going to do what is needed. They're
right,
not going to just hold on to
Mm,
that position they've always had. And that's
right.
the hard line of checking the heart, right? Checking the
And
heart.
maybe that's an expectation that's set from the get-go. Like, thank you
Yes.
for your interest. We have a culture where we are flexible and
mm,
where the
Mhm.
biggest needs are met, and we will always try to align with your giftings, but there may be seasons where you
Yeah,
will be serving outside of those giftings.
totally.
God's going to grow you, challenge you, be ready to go when we call you to that role.
Yes, yes, for sure. It's so for me, and again, this didn't happen day one, over
Mm,
30
yeah.
years. I mean, but I learned somewhere along the line that people wanted to join certain teams, especially like worship and production, things with high
Yes.
skill, because they want it. They want to do the skill, not necessarily. It's not necessarily about
right,
serving Jesus, it's about
right.
right. So
Yes.
I yes, right. So I had to do just one of those like I got to do some kind of heart check
Yeah,
like,
Mm,
before they come on board. Kinda what you're saying. Are you willing to do anything? Or
right.
so, we had at North Coast, we had multiple venues, like, going on at the same time, different styles of worship. So that's kinda cool. Like, there's
Yeah,
this live venue
yeah.
and this right? And then there's a tradition venue, and there's these and so I remember people would come up, somebody came up and said, "Hey, I wanna join your sound team." And I was like, "Wow, awesome, great. Here's a heart check moment." It's okay. So what are you interested in serving? Which venue? We had to first, and they said, "Oh, that edge venue, that hard rock and roll. That's my venue. That's where I love to serve. That's what I want to be. That's my
Yeah.
thing." And the first thing I said was like, "Great. The only sound openings I have are in the traditions venue. What do you think?"
Mm,
Right there before we do anything,
yeah,
and their answer alone what tells me where their heart is, right? Like,
right,
mm,
right.
their initial reaction, if it was like, "Oh, that's not my type of music and venues, so I don't know, I'm not sure,"
sure.
that would tell me like, "Oh, okay, are you in it for yourself or are you in it for your heart," right?
Mm,
Yeah.
If their reaction is, "You put me wherever you need me. I'll go wherever you need where the
Yeah.
need is," whether even if this is a preference, but man, if you need me to serve there, I'll serve there. That would tell me where the heart is, and that's what I
right,
had to start doing because especially in some of these more skilled, gifted areas, people are like, "Oh, I see myself on that stage in that
right.
room," and you're like, "Maybe that's not the role. Maybe you're
Right.
stage manager. Maybe you're
Mm,
backstage," right?
Yeah.
And so these heart checks, that really truly checking the nature of do they really want to serve or they want to serve on their time and where they want to
Mm,
serve? That's not really serving. That's like serving
yeah.
yourself, right? So had to over time, I realized I had to do
Sure.
that. more often than
Yeah.
not.
Well, and you bring up so many good points with this, and it is, yeah. You do want to do those hard checks. I had a mentor that told me long time ago that if you're too big to set the stage, then you're too small to stand on it. And that was
Mm.
just
Love it.
that I've held on
Yeah,
to that too because yeah, and
yeah.
and even in developing those teams in our own church, it has been a little bit of that. Like will you or be willing to to set up those things or to help out on the production side, well, for those singers, those vocalists, for
Mhm,
those
mhm.
band members. Like are you okay to to set up this gear or to help pack up, especially being in a portable church for a long time. That was a
Yes,
big thing. So
right.
I love that those little heart checks. I feel like go a long way in the grand scheme of things, right?
Well, and the long-term benefit to that, going back to, longevity with your volunteers, I would imagine there's many benefits to that, right? They're building relationships with people
Mm,
that
yes.
are going to be supporting them ultimately. Speak using this example of someone being on stage, right? So working with people that will be supporting them in the long run, I think will
Yes.
provide some longevity there. And then two, just understanding everything that's required, right? On the actual
Sure.
servant part of it. And there's so much joy that comes from that. Like if your systems are good, right, and they're well established, and that experience is a really positive experience, and you're understanding that from multiple facets, I would imagine that I mean, if I were serving in that and that were my experience, I would desire to stay longer. I'll speak for
Mhm.
myself.
Sure.
Yeah,
But
right, right. It's a culture you create, right? You're creating
right.
a
Sure.
culture that people wanna be a part of, right? And
Mhm,
really
mhm.
serving. Yeah, it's great.
I
Love it.
love that. I love that you two mentioned that even for many churches, right? Like sound is it can be one of those things. I'm thinking
Mm.
specifically the smaller settings, right? It can be one of those things that's not put on a huge pedestal, right? It's not something like that. But to be in any of the roles and on the tech team, to be in production, the better it gets. Like the more that you're doing, the more that it is critical for people to know what they're doing. And so yeah, when you have someone who shows up on day one and they want to be the guy, right? It's like I love that you mentioned the heart checks.
Mhm.
That's a good place to start. I want to talk a little bit about training, Dennis.
Yeah,
How
please.
critical is it to have solid training for volunteers that come in as you're building these teams?
I would say it is critical, but most situations, right, we're just grabbing bodies and putting them into places, right?
Hmm.
A lot of times we start that's guerrilla ministry. It happens everywhere. So we can't be ashamed of that. That's just what reality is. But at some point,
Yes.
yeah, you need to start doing some training to get everyone on the same page. Here's my philosophy thought on training because it's gone round and round, and we do, like, we try to train everybody together, and we train
Hmm.
like 101 basics. Everybody takes this, and then great. Then
Yes.
okay, and then next month we're going to do 201, and we go and we move everybody along. And and you realize, like, the business world doesn't do that.
Mm.
The business world uh does what I would call operational training
Sure.
only. Like a Chick-fil-A or something like that. They teach you what every single thing does in the room. So this even applies to, like, children's ministry. Like I say this all the time. It's not just sound and not just
Mhm.
but like in children's
Any
room, like,
area. Yeah.
where are all the scissors and are the arts and crafts in this room?
Mm.
Sure.
Because if I put a person in there and I say, "Hey, you need to do an arts and crafts thing," they're gonna go, Where's the stuff? I don't
Mhm.
know. Like,
Mhm.
how do I get a paper? Who does that? Who prints this out?" Right? You
Yeah.
need to train them on operational things in the room, just like a soundboard. You need to tell them what every button does, right, on that console before you can put them on it. Otherwise, you
Mhm.
have tape on your console that says, like, "Don't ever touch this button and don't
That's
push
right.
this," right? You see that, like, it's
Everyone's
because
got one of
Yes.
yeah,
those.
yeah, right. You got those, like, cover it up and tape it. Don't touch this. It's like,
Yeah.
well, so operational training only. That's usually 101 in whatever you're doing. After that, it's like manager training. You
Mm.
select the right people to
Mm.
go further,
Yes.
right? Because most people, like, just need basic again.
Mhm.
Can you remind me? Because again, you're talking about, like, if you're in a
Yeah.
4-week rotation cycle, you're on once a month.
So
That was
true.
3 weeks ago. I forgot everything you told me. I'm sorry. I don't do it for a living, right? So they just need basic training, but others totally get it. There's certain people that, like, "Oh my gosh, I get it." And so you go, "Hey, like, hey, you went through sound 101, operational training.
Right.
Let's teach you how to mic the drums."
Yeah.
Just you, maybe you and somebody else. But if I try to take everybody through that, it's going to go over their head. Right. So businesses pick certain
Yes.
people to be manager training. Right.
Yes.
And that's what I found was better after the initial. You should have a basic training. You should have that operational for every ministry, everything.
Yes.
And then from there, you hand pick people who really get it and who have excelled faster, right, than
That's great
others.
advice.
So,
Yeah, that
Yeah.
is great.
I know that a lot of churches, they say like, our problem is we just can't get people to come in the door. We just can't get people to
mm,
volunteer,
yeah, yep,
or they want to pour a lot of attention into their recruiting. But I think just as important as recruiting for the team maybe would be retention, right? Like keeping
mhm.
people around for the long haul. And I'm just kind of curious, where can churches put their efforts to keep people around for the long haul?
Yeah, that's one of the talks I do is that how to keep a volunteer for life, and it focuses more on those. And there's probably multiple things I would do, but part of it is creating a culture. It's so one of the things I talk about is um, pre-screening.
Mm,
So at some point, like you said, you have to throw people in seats, they sit down and do these things. And then, a year later, 2 years later, they're still sitting in the same seat. And you never really like figured out, is that the best place for them? Like, is
mm,
that really their set? And I'll give you an example of that, like, introvert and extrovert, right? The difference, like, one loves people and wants to be around people all the time. The other
sure.
is like, I'd rather go do this, but they both can love people, but just different interactions, right?
Yeah.
So if I put an extrovert in a lyrics position in a sound booth, an extroverted person who loves people, what do I think's gonna happen every time somebody walks in the booth during a service? That extrovert's gonna wanna say hi to that person,
Yeah.
but they're supposed to be running lyrics and be locked in. So it
Yes.
doesn't mean they can't do it, but they're natural. They almost feel bad if they don't say hi to the person coming in the room. So at some point, if I keep that person yeah, right? You're like, you wanna do this, but, like, there's somebody here, like,
Yeah.
And so it's not their fault.
Mm,
I've put them in the wrong position
yeah.
based
So
on their
good.
personality, right? It doesn't mean they can't do it. Doesn't mean they won't be a servant's heart and do the best they job can. But over time, they're going to probably have more fails or more mistakes
Mm,
because they just want to talk to people. So maybe
yeah.
I should put them in a better position. It's some, or that they can train and develop. But so some of that is you have to go back and pre-screen some people, or you have to pre-screen them before they come on. If you have that
Mm.
luxury, right? If you have
Yeah.
that luxury, is get them in the right role. I remember talking to person that had was serving in the children's babies, and we would announce almost every weekend, we need more volunteers to serve in the baby, with the
It's serving the
babies, right?
nursery. Yeah.
Yeah, because it
Every church.
grows, yeah, more babies are, I mean, right, every church, right? And this guy, I remember talking to him like a year into that, and I was like, man, cool, he's still serving with the babies, and he must love that. And he turns to me, he's like, don't like babies at all. Like, I'm not that's not my age, that's not my age group. And I'm like, "What are you doing?" He's like, "But the call was made, like, we need people, and I wanna
Yeah.
serve, and I'm gonna serve a heart, and I'll be there.
Aw.
So, isn't serving about suffering for the Lord?"
Oh,
And I'm
bless
like,
it.
"Oh my goodness. No, that's" right? There may be a short time or season you need some help and
Sure.
but at some point, pre-screen them going, "Hey, do you really love doing this? Because if not, I wanna get you in the seat where you
Right.
love. Like, you're really
Yeah.
using some gifts and you're excited about, right? So that is
Mm.
some of that long-term longevity. Like, we just leave people in places because we don't have time. We don't have time to really do it, and
Mm,
then they're just doing their thing, and then we forget about them, and then they're like, I'm done. See you later." And you're like,
Right.
What do you mean? You haven't said a word in 2 years, and I thought you love it."
yeah.
"No, not really. Not my position." Right? So
Well,
that's
and you, Dennis, you bring up such a good point because I feel like that right there is what keeps a lot of times people from volunteering in the first place, is that they're afraid that they're going to get trapped doing
Yeah.
something that, their heart's in the right
yes.
place, right? They're
Yep.
willing to help, but they get trapped in this space. And, people, they won't, a lot of times they won't speak up. And when,
Mhm.
all of a sudden, this person that has been faithful starts dipping out or calling out or not showing up, and we think, oh,
Mhm.
well, they must not love the Lord. Well,
Right. Right.
that isn't it at all. Is that we as leaders didn't put them on the right seat on the bus, and that is That is such good advice to check in with people and to ask and see how they're doing and yeah, finding the right position for them, finding the right place, something that they're passionate about.
Mhm.
That's gold.
Yeah.
Mm.
Maybe in like just a couple of words, do you have any hacks on how to do this in a way that's scalable? So, I would imagine some churches do like a spiritual gifts test,
Mm,
or I
Mhm.
don't know if there's anything, specific that you're looking at. The other thing too that I'm thinking about, and this is just from my personal experience, right? My husband and I served for a long time at our church. Part of what made us want to take a break, I mean, we'd been there for
Mm.
2 years at that
Mhm.
point, but one of the things that made us want to take a break is that we were needing to show up at 7 a.m. on Sunday mornings,
Mhm.
and that
Mhm.
became really exhausting.
Mhm.
And so anyway, not to
Yeah,
not to
yeah,
dwell on that, but is there specific questions you can ask? Do
right.
you suggest a survey? Like, what's a good way to capture some of that information?
Yeah, obviously, you talk. I love your scalability question because, like, well, if you have 5 volunteers, those you're going to have. Hopefully, you're having conversations
Sure.
with them
yes.
Sure.
regularly, right?
Yeah.
But as the team grows, that gets harder to talk to every single person. What
That's
do you
right.
like
Yeah.
to do and what you don't like to do, right?
Right.
So you do. We do. I did lean on. Sending some things out, some questionnaires out about your role, like
Sure.
the half it's 6 month check in. It's like, hey, you're loving what you're doing. What are
That's
the parts
good.
you love? What are the parts you don't like? Right.
Mm,
Um, and the other thing, I think that again, proactivity, if you can post some other volunteer positions that are open or coming up or we need more. And this is
mm,
some, because like you said, the 7 a.m. thing, like totally get that.
mm.
Like doing that
Yeah.
every single, or 2 times a month
Yeah.
for years. It's like, it gets a little, like, I want my 7 a.m. back sometimes. But
On a
Sure.
Sunday,
man,
Yeah.
if I
especially.
right, but maybe there's a different position that starts
Sure.
at 10 a.m. or maybe
Mhm.
Right.
there's a Saturday
Right.
night service that I didn't
Sure.
even think about. I don't
Hmm.
know. I'm not
Hmm.
involved in it so much that I know. So sometimes you gotta send some information out. It's like, hey, we're
I
looking
love
for
that.
volunteers here. If you're interested, it's a different requirement. There's different things on it. Explain it a little bit. Again,
Sure.
that takes some time. And sometimes as leaders, we just don't have time to put that together. But that
Mm,
helps with the hey, other positions, especially when you have a
Yes.
big team and trying to
right.
communicate
Yes.
all that out
It's
to
good.
others. Yeah.
So good.
It's great wisdom.
Mm.
Dennis, I'm just kind of curious, like in your opinion, how do you make these team members, how do you make these volunteers feel valued enough that they want to stay engaged?
Yeah, that's a good question. Value is a good question. I mean, everybody has some different motivations. I'll tell you this though. I did learned later on, that true check in on where they're at spiritually goes a long way. And I say that because, like, you probably asked people, volunteers on your team, like, "Hey, how you doing? And what do you get? Fine,
Great.
good,
Yeah.
fine, good." Like, you get these really quick, simple answers, and it's like,
Yeah.
okay. But is fine like really good or is fine okay or what, right? So
Sure.
that happened. Too long of a story to tell you, but it actually happened as a person that just never complained, never like super volunteer, always showed up when they was upset and was talking about different things. And so I talked to the person and I said, "What's going on?" I said, I heard
Mm,
you're upset and you're frustrated." And they had calmed down by then, but they said, yeah, you never have all the stuff here that I need in order and all that stuff. And I'm like, man, yeah, I get that. Wow, I'm sorry. That's not, we need to be more prepared for you to do your job right. I said, what else? And they said, well, actually, before I came here, I got into an argument with my spouse. I'm
mm,
like, oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Yeah, that would throw me off too. Right.
Right.
And then I said, I'll pray for that. Let's, anything to do. Is there anything else? Actually, the argument was I may be losing my job.
mm.
And it was the moral of that for me was, oh my gosh, we wouldn't have known that unless they got frustrated because we asked them and they say they're okay, but we never really asked them. We
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
kind of assumed everything. So put something in place that was like, okay, no longer it's a 1 to 5 where you at spiritually. That's
Mm.
what
Yes,
you're
that's
asking people.
good.
Hey, where you at? From 1 to 5 spiritually, where you at?
Yeah.
And that can give to be honest, guys, they can give you any answer they want. It's okay. That's between them and God. If they want to
Right.
say, "Oh, I'm a 3, I'm great," it doesn't really matter. All that really matters is they tell me a number. The next time I see them, I ask them again, if their number goes up, that's good.
Right.
If their number stays the same and goes down, I'm like, hey, what can we do? Hey, are you listening to the message? There's worship
Sure.
songs I can give you. Like, I want to keep moving you up forward.
Right.
So again, you can be as honest as you want. It's just a gauge, right? And if they say, oh, but it's a little bit further than just a fine. Give me a number, because then I can talk about it. Like, you said 2. Wow, 2. Okay, but what is it? Why is that 2? What's going on, right? Or I'm a 5. Awesome. What are you reading and what are you doing that makes you a 5? I want to give that to the other people too, right? So there's more dialogue involved in that than a simple good, fine, whatever, right? And you move on. So it's that kind of spiritual check-in, which gives you a pulse probably bigger of where your team's at than you know.
That's such a good
great
answer.
hack.
I
Yeah.
was not expecting that answer. I was expecting you to say, like, send them a gift, a book once, like, help them feel valued in the sense that, like, thank you for your service. That, though, Dennis, is significantly more impactful.
Oh, yeah.
You are making them feel seen and valued on a much deeper level, on the most important level. And so that's great. You just skipped right to the heart, right to their heart. I think that's phenomenal.
I love that question too, that you say spiritually, because, like, we can get a lot of different things from other areas of our life, right? Like, we can get encouragement other places and but when we come to church, right, it's one of the few places during the week that we are getting that spiritual side of it. And it can reveal a lot too. Like, I would even say, like, if you were to ask me that question right now in this moment, that may spark an assessment, a self-assessment that I may not otherwise be thinking about, right? Well, man, I didn't think about that today. Now that you mention it, I haven't connected with God today. Now that you mention it, man, things are feeling really rough. I probably need to spend more time in prayer, or really need to lean in during that message or during the worship today. I love that answer. That's great advice.
It's something that hit me, that I'm not necessarily responsible for this to feed my team spiritually. It's that I need to make sure they're spiritually fed. Right. So, I know a lot of guys that teach a Bible study at their volunteer, and that's great. I love that. If you got the time and can do that, but most of us don't have that time. You want to do a little Devo or something like that. That's great. But it's not necessarily my job to spiritually feed them. It's my pastor's job, so I just need to make sure they're getting spiritually fed somehow. And that's where that came out of. Like, I didn't want to spend all my time trying to spiritually feed them, come up with a Bible study. I was like, my pastor just gave a great message. Why wouldn't they just listen to that and us talk about that? Rather than me try to teach you something. And then, right. So it was just something that switched for me, was like, I just got to make sure they're spiritually fed and physically fed too sometimes, right? Give them food and stuff like that, right?
Kendall knows that's my love language. Got to feed my people.
There you go.
I love that, I love just taking time, and a leader, for the folks out there listening today, this is just a good reminder. Like, you have to slow down enough, especially when serving like in a tech role, in a production role, for worship. I mean, it could happen with any area of the ministry, but you got to make time to be able to slow down to actually have those conversations. Like, maybe that's a huddle before you serve, or maybe it's time that you're intentionally slowing down to be able to connect with these volunteers, or checking in during the week and that kind of thing. I mean, like, it is that is how you steward these team members well. It is vital as a leader to be checking on these people. They are not just doers. We cannot treat them like doers.
Yep.
We got to treat them like people.
That's good, Kendall. I say this when I teach all the time. I think it actually takes more resources, time, and energy to utilize volunteers. Like, a lot of people think volunteering, like, oh, we're saving tons of money. That may be true in some sense. Right? It may be true in some sense. But somebody's paying for that in some way. And the leader, a great leader, is investing time, energy, and resources to developing those volunteers. And so it's vitally important, but it's also a lot of work. And so sometimes we shy away from it. Like, I don't have time to call them. And like, I'll see them on the weekend. And it's like, that little investment can go a long way, right? Or you have to build in systems where people help you do that. You can't be the only one. It's a small group model. Like, well, I'll have so-and-so call them instead of me and check in on them and those kinds of things, because you got to build that into that, because the value, right, that's gained by somebody volunteering for their church. It's buy-in. It's like right? It's they love their church and they love
Mhm.
Jesus and they just
Right.
want to help, right?
Yeah.
That's what they
Yeah.
want to do.
Right.
So,
Yeah, it's a critical piece of the long haul part, right? That's what
right.
this topic is today. It's not just
Yeah.
recruiting volunteers, it's for the long
Mhm.
haul. And so
Yes.
that's the investment that you have to pour into it. It's more time consuming. It's probably draining in some capacity. I know I'll speak for myself that there are days where I can ask certain people, "How are you doing?" And there are other days where my cup is probably too empty.
Ooh,
And I know that I need to go back to the Lord to
Yep.
be refilled before I check
yep.
in on this certain person, right? So it requires so much out of you, but that's where the longevity comes in, that you're
That's right.
investing
Mhm.
in the long haul.
Yes. Yep. Yep. It's good.
That's so
So
good.
good.
Yeah, I feel this is a topic that I'm passionate about. I feel like I could talk about it all day. And Dennis, the things that you brought up, I mean, are just so important. But just one more snippet that I feel like I want to bring up is something that my pastor speaks all the time is just that the heart posture as leaders as we're bringing in these volunteers is it seems like on a surface level that we're asking them to do something for us, asking them to do something for
Mm.
our church. But really, the flip side of it is that we're really trying to give back to them when they serve, and we're able as leaders to pour into them, to teach them. I mean, we want to create such a volunteer culture in our own ministry that folks leave, they are better in their families, that they're a
Mhm.
better spouse, they're better at raising their kids, they're
Mm,
taking
mm,
values and excellence to their own job. They're better at their job on their 9 to 5 Monday through Friday because of what they do on Sunday.
So
It's
good.
what we can
mhm.
give back to them and how we can
Yes.
build them up as individuals that really
Mhm.
just I feel like that's the heart of what you've spoken to, right? Is
Mm.
just that we're trying to give to them. We're trying to uh, give to them more than we're trying to get from them.
Mhm.
Right, right. Yeah. What they do is one thing, what they learn and what they receive is another,
Mm,
Mm.
right?
yeah,
And so I always want that to outweigh what they're doing for us.
I
So
love that.
good.
Mm.
When you look at the churches that seem to be getting this right, Dennis, the ones that have the
Mm.
strong, healthy volunteer teams, what would you say sets them apart? What are they doing
Mm.
differently behind the
Mm.
scenes?
Yeah, I would say, I think just in general, people have asked me this question before, like, what makes a healthy staff or healthy volunteer team? Like,
Mm,
what makes, and there's a lot of factors, like there's other things, but here's, I think, the core for me. Um, a healthy team is not necessarily a team that runs the hardest, fastest, those things. A healthy
yeah.
team, health is usually determined on when something goes wrong, how does the team react?
Hmm.
Mm,
So if
Interesting.
something like if there's some sort of disagreement or turmoil between two people in a team, if you ignore it, that's not healthy.
Right.
sure.
That's just going to fester. Probably one of them's probably going to leave. There's going to be
Mm.
probably grumbling, and people are like, "Why did so and so leave?" And so, like, yeah. But if you address it again, doesn't mean the outcome won't be the same. Someone may have to leave. Maybe it's a hard conversation, but to have those hard conversations and make sure people understand we're addressing this. That's healthy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right? Right? You can't be perfectly healthy. You can only address when problems come up and how
Yeah.
Mm.
you address them. So as a church as a whole, I've seen churches skirt things outside and like, well, we're not talking about that anymore. You're like, ooh, that's it says a different message, doesn't it?
Right.
Right?
Sure. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's like, are you really healthy then if you guys can't talk about this within your
Mm.
own team? And certain degrees. I'm saying share everything, but
Sure.
within your team. So as a volunteer team, like what are our biggest tensions and hurdles,
Yes.
guys, as a team? What's going on? It may be someone says it's personalities. Okay, let's talk about personalities. Maybe there's some process stuff. Man, I think we need to clean this up because it's confusing. Okay, let's deal with that. Let's talk
Yes.
about those things on the
Yeah.
table
That's
because that's
good.
what healthy people and teams do,
Yes.
Yeah.
right? They don't just hide those things.
That's so
So,
good. I
When you
love
talk
that.
about that from the volunteer side, I'll also just plug onto that. One of the big themes for our podcast is a healthy church and a healthy
mm,
leader. And, I guess my question to you is, what essential component do you feel like makes up a healthy church beyond just their volunteers?
mhm, mhm. I would say so. One of my pastors used to always say, "Health over growth," like
Mm,
focusing on the health, spiritual health, the discipleship of your team and your church,
yes.
and growth happens. Healthy things grow,
Yeah.
right? you can force it the other way. We've seen it. You can force like growth and, whatever you do that. But then you realize, ooh, we're not so healthy inside. Everybody's burnt out. Everybody's upset, frustrated. But hey, we're more people are coming. So make sure, like, it doesn't matter. Right. And so for me, it's like, I'd rather be the church that's healthy and growing, maybe not as fast as these other huge ones are growing, because we're focused on our team and discipleship and what we're going to write, those things within our team and our spiritual well-being and checking on how you're doing spiritually. And then God's going to bless it and grow it, because he's going to say, yeah, you deserve more, guys. So there's lots of ways, but if you say healthy church, health over growth is the focus, God will grow it. It doesn't mean he won't grow. He can grow anything. We know that, guys, right? But I'd rather do it healthy. That's what I would choose.
It's good wisdom. That's good wisdom.
So,
well, Dennis, one of the ways that we love to end the show is with a final 5 rapid fire round of questions. So would you be up for the challenge as we wrap things up?
Let's do it. Rapid fire.
They're all math questions. Are you ready for this?
Oh, okay,
no, I'm
great.
just kidding.
Yes.
Can you imagine?
Equals 4. Everything equals 4.
Okay. What is one book on this subject or similar that you'd recommend to church leaders?
Gosh, lots of books I would recommend. An old book, Lead Like Jesus.
2. You get 2. Top 2.
Okay, well, something I just read from start to finish, because I read a lot of parts of books. I don't know if that's good. I shouldn't say that. But the last one I read from start to finish was Unreasonable Hospitality. Not a Christian book, not right.
No,
It's a great book on customer service.
Yeah.
And a lot of that applies, what we're doing, right? So it's just, there's a lot of nuggets of wisdom out there. Again, it's not a Christian book, so, understand that, filter that.
Dealing with humans, it's the same, though.
Dealing with humans, right. Yeah. Yes. For sure. So
I love that.
Yeah.
Good one.
Yeah.
That is a good one. It's in my queue. I also started it.
Good. You're not going to be disappointed.
Last thing you listen to on Spotify, Apple Music, wherever you stream music.
Oh, wow. Okay. Last thing. Well, I did that. Did you guys do your top 2025
rap
songs list? Yeah. Okay. So this year, Forrest Frank was mine.
Mine too, Dennis.
Hey,
probably a lot of the U.S. and the world. Let's be honest.
Probably, yes. Yeah, probably. But that brought my listening age down.
Oh,
so
me
my
too.
listening age is 22.
Oh my gosh, you're younger than me. I was 26.
Right. Yeah.
My son was 76 and he's 14 years old because he loves the Beatles.
Okay.
I'm like him. We play instrumentals in the evenings when we're winding down, and it totally has destroyed mine.
My goodness. Oh my goodness.
That's amazing. Wow. I love it. Okay, that was a fun answer. Okay, number 3, your favorite piece of technology or software right now?
Well, I mean, it'd be dumb if I didn't say any sort of AI tool, because we'll
allow it. We've had a fly fishing rod as their favorite technology before.
Oh, really? Okay, yeah.
You remember that,
AI is a pretty frequent answer too, though.
Yes.
More than the fly fishing rod.
Yes.
There's a lot. Yes, there's a lot to learn with AI and how to utilize it. And so, yeah, I would say that right now is for me.
Yeah. Okay, very cool. Quote or advice that has stuck with you over the years?
Oh, can I use my own? Is that fair?
Sure.
I mean, lots of quotes. But what always sticks out to me is I say this all the time is your equipment is only as good as the person running it.
Okay.
And so
applicable.
Like I use like my iPhone as an example. Like for my mom, my iPhone is a phone.
Right.
That's it.
Right.
She calls me on it, right? That's all. I'm like, Mom, that's the most powerful thing. You can look up sermon, you can do everything in it. It's like, oh, no, I'm just going to call you on it. So like for her, it's just a phone. And that's like, because it's really in the hands of the user. And so I say that about churches and when they buy technology, right? Very expensive phone. You can buy, But like utilizing technology, putting, my business is putting technology in, for me, it's like, well, who's going to actually use this? Because we do a whole thing about training them, commissioning them. Because that's the important part. Like, if you don't buy something you're not going to use many of the features for.
I love it.
Let's do it right.
Wow.
So.
It's a good
quote by Dennis Choy.
That's right.
Okay.
It's good for all those tech leaders out there, for sure.
Yes. One thing that you'd like to communicate to our audience of church leaders.
Mm, just one?
Yep.
One
Yep.
thing.
Needs to be
Like, this is it.
real
Gonna
inspiring.
walk away, and this is like the end. Like, done. This is the last thing Dennis has said.
No pressure.
Yeah. I there's too many things to say. I would say that, ministry can be a long journey,
Mhm.
and I actually have a whole burnout story. We didn't even have time to get
Mm,
into this. That's okay. I burned out. Didn't even know I was burned out, all those
mm,
things. And the reason there's lots of details in it. Okay, I'm gonna boil it all down to the reason I burned out was because I lost my calling.
Mm,
mm,
I was in a big system running, and I was around church all the time, and "What do you mean? This is church. I'm in it. Like, what do you
right,
yeah.
mean?" And, that little thing I slipped over and was like, "Oh, but this is about my calling, not about what I'm
right,
doing."
right.
Right? So, I would say, check your calling, your
Mm,
It's
ministry.
good.
Just be checking on that because that can creep.
Mhm.
mm.
Over time, especially as the church gets larger and more responsibilities
Wow.
and things happen, it just can creep on you. You don't even know it. That's not
Right.
Mm,
your whole purpose is to help the church, right? But you forgot about your own calling on it.
Mm.
mm.
So
So
true.
anyway,
This is a good incentive to watch us on YouTube. Kendall has that banner behind him, and it's such a good
yeah, love
reminder
it.
every time
Yes,
I read it.
You
And
gotta
we're
say
not
it
going to
out
tell you
loud
what
for
it
the
said.
for the
No,
listeners.
yes.
well, should I? Or should I say, if you want to
Spoil
know
it, it's
what it is,
okay. It's
head over
okay.
to YouTube. No, it says, remember why you started. And I
That's
just
it.
love that. I
It's
think
good.
that's
I
wonderful.
love it too. That's awesome. Love it.
You've shared so much good stuff today. I know that all of our listeners are gonna wanna follow you. They're gonna wanna hear more and
Mm.
stay connected. Where's the best place, for them to connect with you?
Mm. The number one, you can just email me because I can answer that at night too, right? So just Dennis at HouseRight.com is an
Yeah.
easy way. Just DENNIS at HouseRight.com. I'm on Instagram, Dennis Choy one, the number one. Somebody else has Dennis Choy, I guess. I don't know, but so I had to get Dennis Choy one, number one. So
I love it.
those are great places. And then I teach at a lot of different conferences. I love to get out and share. And actually, House Right, we're putting on our own workshop. We've done two of these. We're doing the next one in California, and you can check the website if you want interested in coming to that. But we're trying to do those in all different areas of the country. So,
Well, and I love that you speak so often into the creative elements, the
Mm,
production side, the tech side, the worship side, and at these different. It was actually the talk, and help me. You've said the name a couple of times of the one that you taught, keeping a volunteer for life. That's when
mm,
I knew I was like, we need to share that with the audience, and so
mm,
I know that our
mm,
listeners appreciate that wisdom that you've poured in today. But yeah, Dennis, if the opportunity comes at a conference, I'm gonna have to come and check out one of your breakouts in person sometime. I'm excited
come
about
on
that.
over. Yeah, that
Yeah,
would be wonderful.
that's
Appreciate it.
awesome. Well, I
Yeah.
would say for all of our listeners, definitely check out these resources. We'll link up, all of these ways to stay in touch with Dennis and in the show notes. But Dennis, thank you so much. This has been a real privilege, and I just love
Mm.
your heart and all the wisdom that you've shared today. Thank you.
mhm. Thanks.
Appreciate you guys. Thank you so much. And again, I appreciate what you do. A podcast may seem like a simple thing, but it can encourage, it
Mm,
can inspire, and it can help people understand things better. So appreciate you doing it for the Big C Church, and keep doing it.
Thank you.
Thanks for
Thank you
the
so much for
encouragement.
your kind words. Yeah, thank you so much. For all of our listeners at home, if this has encouraged you today, would you consider sharing it with a friend, even leaving us a review? Those reviews over on Apple or the comments on Spotify or YouTube, they mean the world to us,
Mhm.
and they just help us to keep equipping leaders just like you. Again, hit that follow button. We want to make sure you're subscribed. Until next time, keep leading well, and we'll see you right back here next week on Church Leadership Lab.
This episode of the Church Leadership Lab podcast is brought to you by Ministry Brands, the largest provider of church technology software. Over 90,000 churches rely on Ministry Brands for their single platform solution that brings together all the digital tools a church needs. From online giving to websites to church management software and more, Ministry Brands is leading the way in simple-to-use, innovative solutions, all with the goal of empowering healthy churches. To learn more, visit ministrybrands.com.